So we have the inlay piece basically in place. I'm going to leave the squiggly bits, I suppose I'll call them, till the very end. And I am happy with the positioning of the circles. So I'm going to mark them out and go from there. Now, most of the time you would expect to hold the inlay down with double-sided tape and then mark around the outline with a brand new sharp scalpel blade. However, I've never found a double-sided tape that I think is high tack enough to hold the inlay down without me worrying about it moving, but also low tack enough that I can get it off the inlay without snapping the inlay. If you've taped something to the fretboard, you do need to be able to get it off again without damaging it. So basically, as you can see, I'm very carefully holding the piece down with 2 fingers, and that is allowing me to get a very, very fine outline with my scalpel blade. Often I will find that a scalpel blade's outline is too close, and I have to make the cavity a little bigger, which is always good. Once marked out, we need to cut the edges of the outer circle. Can you hear the concentration in my voice? You have to be very careful with the initial cut, because basically the grain will try and make your blade follow it. And you don't want to follow the grain, you want to follow your drawing. Once you've got a scratch to follow, you are all right. Now, there are many, many tools that one could use to route out or evacuate the inlay cavities. A Dremel multi-tool is probably the standard, although you do need to buy the tool and then some sort of a precision base for that tool. There are also little flexible shaft things that attach to a multi-tool, and they can also have a base that allows you to adjust the height and, the depth of the cutter, and keeps it a little bit more stable. You could do it by hand with a little chisel, which is always a good idea. And what I've got here is a rather lovely little Proxxon baby router, I suppose. And it does. You can set the depth, adjust the height, and it's obviously very, very stable and lovely and relatively cheap, actually. So this is my tool of choice. However, what I tend to do is I tend to use this as something to very roughly, I want to say, evacuate the cavity again. And I then use a scalpel blade and a small chisel or two to fine-tune my inlay cavity. So anyway, I now need protection. There we go. Funnily enough, the best Ear defenders are made for people who do trap shooting and use shotguns. So the cavity is now very roughly roughed out, and it's just a case of following my original cuts down to the bottom of the cavity. And you can use a scalpel blade and a small chisel to do this. We're going to fit each piece individually, of course. I am not a laser cutter.